Continental Tire Coach's Corner, the proud exclusive tire of the Dan Patrick Show. No matter where you drive, what you drive, how you drive, Continental designs tires for what you do. For more information, visit ContinentalTire.com. Continental Tire for what you do. And we make way for Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. First concert you ever went to, Dave?
New Edition. I went to New Edition and, I think it was New Edition and Karen White. That's way back.
Best concert you ever went to?
Best concert I ever went to, I think, was just recently. I saw Maroon 5 at Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
That was very special. John Legend, Dodger Stadium. So those are kind of 1 and 2 for me.
But do you go and then you just say, Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager, then you're able to go, you're going into Dodger Stadium, but the Dodgers aren't playing. So how do you pull that off?
So that one was the Dodger Gala. So it was special, intimate Dodger Stadium in center field. And that's that. So that was kind of, I didn't have to drop the Dave Roberts, Dodger manager card on that one. and the New Edition, I was kind of back in the day, Dan, where it was like the El DeBarge, Pete Buzz mustache, and the shag, long hair. Those are those days where you had to get ushered or chauffeured from a parent.
Did you have that look?
I own that look, man. Yeah.
All right, I got some good news here to tell you. I got a couple of things for you. Do you know what the wine enthusiast rating on your 2017 Red Stitch Chardonnay is?
So I don't. I should.
Do you want to know?
I do, and if it's not 90, if it's not 93 and above, then don't believe it.
Okay. The score is not going to be published until July 1st, but I got information. I got information.
Okay.
So this is your wine, or you're part of the group that owns Red Stitch. What is your relationship with Red Stitch?
Yeah, I'm an owner. So
Okay.
it's me and a couple other guys and their families that we own Red Stitch. Yes, sir.
Okay, 2017 Red Stitch Chardonnay. By the way, the Pinot and the Cab are wonderful, and I would say that if you weren't on the show. Just received 92 points from Wine Enthusiast, and the score won't be published until July 1st. So I just got that information there. So congratulations. That's a great number.
That's a great number. No, it is. It is. Anything above 90 is an excellent wine. So 92, we will definitely take it. We're proud of it. It's. I'm glad you enjoyed the Chardonnay. And did you say the Pinot or the Cab?
The Cab.
Okay. All right. So then I got to send you some Pinot Noir as well.
And once again, you get no preferential treatment because, if this year ends like last year, then I got to rip you. So just so you know, I love the wine. I appreciate our friendship. The wine doesn't hurt, but, I got to still do my job here, Dave.
Dude, I'm fair game, man. No problem. It's all good.
Okay, here's the other bit of information. So I gave you that information. Here's something that maybe you didn't know. This is only since 1900. Best record by a manager in baseball history, minimum of 500 games.
Wow.
You're second on the list.
Who's number one?
Joe McCarthy, who won 2,100 games. You've won 342. So you got a chance.
Wow. I got a shot. Huh?
Yeah. Yes. There's nobody modern era who's close to you at winning 60% of your games. It's the second best record by a manager since 1900. Minimum 500 games.
No, that's great. And I'll tell you, though, Dan, is that what I tell my players every single day. What makes a good coach? Good players. Yes. And we're fortunate to have good players.
All right, the Padres drafted your son, Cole. And did Mom say you had to draft your son?
My son preemptively said, you better not pull any strings or influence the Dodgers to draft me because that would be a nightmare for me. So I made sure that the Dodgers didn't draft him for sure. And for the Padres to draft him on his own ability, I was very proud of, and I had nothing to do with that. So that was a feather in his cap, and we're very proud of him.
Do you know, let's say your pitching staff was going to face him in a couple of years. Do you know his scouting report, and would you give inside information to your pitchers when they face your son?
Absolutely. I would go old school, hard in, soft away.
That sounds like his nickname. Hard in, soft away. Yeah, something like that.
Right.
How's morale? It should be pretty high here.
You know what? It's good. You know what I think the thing is, though, Dan, is that if you come into our clubhouse, it's after a tough loss, a big win, it's very consistent and very steady. So I think that for me, I think that people that aren't with us every day expect more. But I kind of really appreciate that business-like attitude. And today we're going to come in on a day game and try to win a series. And it's going to kind of be that same methodical approach. And that's kind of how we play the game.
Explain this from a managerial standpoint. I don't mean to make light of it, but Cody Bellinger leads the league in hugs by women during games here, and it's bordering on getting a little silly, trendy. What do you think of this phenomenon?
Okay, so you look back at the '80s, and I recall vaguely, Morgana and doing that thing, and it was kind of all fun and games and things like that. And I just think it just speaks to obviously right now these are minors and it's innocent right now. I just think that in this where we're at right now, it can turn a different direction, and that's where we got to be on guard. And I'm concerned for the players, for Cody, to not have to worry about people coming in the stands. And you just never know people's motives. So that's why I think at first look you want to kind of look at it softly, but you got to be really mindful of where we're at in society.
Sometimes a manager has to read the room correctly, and sometimes you just say, let that guy be that guy. And I don't know if you're at that point with Cody Bellinger where you just don't say anything as opposed to giving him a tip or something like that. What is your approach to as great as Bellinger has been this year?
I think there's a little bit of a lot of that, of just continuing for sure to let him be himself. I think for me, it's more of just continuing to do what you've been doing. And, you see guys now intentionally walking him, pitching around him. And I think that a couple weeks ago I saw the frustration, and that sort of bleeds into anxiousness and over-aggressiveness to the next at-bats. And that's something that I want to guard against. And so now, you got to take the game in stride and understand there's a tactical part of it. And so not let that get you. And if he does that and continues to do all the things that he's doing, he's going to be fine.
Continental Tire Coach's Corner, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. Home runs are up in Major League Baseball because of what? The number one reason.
I know where you want me to. I know where you want me to go with this. I got the baseballs. I mean, I that's it. I'm going to give you my honest answer.
Okay.
I think the baseball is a little bit. I got baseballs.
What does mean?
I don't want to get so much into it. I mean, because I don't want to discount the players, because I do think that the players are bigger, stronger, faster than they've ever been. There's an intent to really slug more than there ever has been. So you layer that on with the baseballs, I think obviously that's going to lead to a bigger number as well.
So juiced without saying juiced is what we're talking about.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, but I just, can you tell the difference? Is it physical where you can hold it? If you bounce it? Is it the sound of it leaving the bat?
I think that in talking to pitchers, the feel's different. In talking to hitters when they don't hit a baseball as well as they think they did, and it goes a distance that, as a hitter, when you get it and when you don't. But I've just heard many times over when I didn't get it and it carried, 10 seats into the stands. So that just kind of, for me, you hear that and you listen. But as far as the bouncing or the sound, not as much that.
Yeah, because I heard Rick Sutcliffe talk about this, and he's one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to pitching, and he talked about the seams, that they're different than they've been before. I don't know if we're trying to create more offense here. It feels like every sport wants to create more offense, and baseball would, I guess, be in line. I miss the small things in baseball, Dave. I really do. Like your role nowadays in baseball, I don't know what that role would be. It'd be different, but I miss the extra base. I miss, hit and run. I miss bunting. I like movement in the game. Nobody's stealing, 70 bases anymore. How do we get that back? Do we need that back in baseball?
Well, I think that's a fair question. And I think for me, the baseball purist, that's exactly what brought us to the game. And I think that you're talking about the cerebral, the thinking part of the game, the strategy part of the game that I absolutely love. But, when there's you're talking about the audience that right now, could you argue that more people would rather see a 100-mile-an-hour fastball and 450-foot homers than a sacrifice bunt or a hit and run or throwing over 3 times to have a guy steal second base? But for me, for you, for the purists, absolutely. But I think that it's talking about viewerships, and I don't complain about a 3-hour game because for me is when there's a pitcher's duel or when there's strategies or whatever it might be, bullpen management, matchups. I love that stuff, but I think that the general fan these days, I don't know if they would say the same thing as you and I.
But remember when you struck out 100 times, Dave? I mean, you were.
I didn't strike out 100 times.
No, not you.
I'm joking.
No. Paulie, check and see how many times. What's the most Dave Roberts struck out in a season?
Fact check.
Yeah, but if you struck out 100 times in a season, you were embarrassed. Like you had the scarlet letter on you. Now it's almost like that's the badge of courage. Like, oh, you only got punched out 100 times? I got punched out 187 times. Bryce Harper is one of the best players in the game. He's going to strike out 200 times this year. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, I think that there's a compensation part of it where obviously these players are getting compensated with slug, and that's kind of equated to production, and where I do think the needle is going to shift back. You see Cody Bellinger, for example, that you'd mentioned earlier, as shortening up and using the other part of the field. And I think that our guys in particular do a really good job of minimizing the strikeouts. And one of the best players, one of the guys that I really love to watch, Mookie Betts, he's 1-to-1 strikeout to walk. So there's guys in there that they've got to make a concerted effort to minimize the punch. But I still think that to win games, to not make outs, that's the point of offense, and that's how you score runs.
Were you able to reach out to Big Papi after what happened to him in the Dominican Republic?
No, I'm going to let the dust settle. As I know, I've kind of heard secondhand that he's recovering nicely. And so, yeah, when the dust settles, I'm going to reach out to him. It's just very, very sad, unfortunate, happened in his own country. So, most importantly, I'm happy David's recovering.
Paulie, do you have the most that Dave Roberts struck out in a single season?
Yeah, 2007, age 35 with San Francisco Giants. Dave Roberts struck out 66 times. But, Dan, he did it in 443 plate appearances. So if you prorate that to 600 plate appearances,
Okay, but what about my strikeout to walk? Was that okay, though, or what? I know. Come on.
Wait, what is this, Billy Bean here that we care about? Your.
Hey, there's a ratio that's important.
I know.
We don't need to talk about my stats. Believe me, they're very pedestrian. That's okay.
Okay, but is there one moment, like one hitting moment, that will stand out? Not stealing a base. We know that one. God, I hear that from you over and over and over. Let me tell you about the stolen base against the Yankees.
Over a glass of wine. That's right. I love talking about that.
Yeah, you don't even say hello. I say, hey, Dave, and you go, hey, can I tell you about the stolen base against the Yankees? Yeah.
Right.
What's the one hitting moment that you'll tell your grandkids?
No, I think for me, it's my first big league hit. What's ironic is that Bobby Witt Jr. Was a high pick, obviously, this year, and my first big league hit at Tropicana Field was against his father.
I'm going to guess on a fastball.
It was a high fastball that I got above and got a turned a single into a double left center field. Yeah.
Because if you have a base hit, like your first hit, you don't want to get thrown out at second.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. That wouldn't have been pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, because then you get picked off at first base. Hey, I got my first hit, and then you're leading off, and you get picked off.
That would have went over real well with Mike Hargrove. Yeah.
Mike Hargrove, the human rain delay. Hey, congrats so far. Congrats on the wine, the winning percentage, and we appreciate your time as always.
All right, Dan, take it easy. We'll talk soon.
That's Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, Continental Tire Coach's Corner. They got the Diamondbacks coming up a little bit later on today.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.